Right now, without your knowledge, someone in your life is running an experiment on you. Not in a laboratory, not with equipment, but in the middle of a normal conversation, at a dinner table, in a meeting room, using nothing but a carefully placed silence, a well-timed interruption, or a joke that felt like a knife wearing a smile. They are not testing your intelligence, your credentials, or your strength. They are testing something far more specific and far more dangerous, whether your psychological foundation can be moved, whether your reactions can be predicted, and whether the version of you they are looking at is a man with real ground beneath him or a man performing stability while quietly standing on sand. Most men go their entire lives failing tests they never knew were being administered, wondering why certain people stopped respecting them, why certain rooms feel different, why the dynamic shifted without a single conversation about it, never understanding that the shift happened in 5 seconds during what they dismissed as a normal interaction, when they gave the wrong answer to a question that was never spoken out loud. They know how much pressure you absorb before you react. They know how long your silence lasts before you break it. They know the exact tone of voice that makes you shrink. And they learned all of this not through a conversation, but through a series of quiet, calculated experiments they ran on you while you were busy thinking you were just having a normal interaction. This is called social probing. There was a man who spent his entire career mapping the hidden mechanics of human behavior, not for philosophers, not for academics, but for the people who actually held power. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. What he documented was so precise, so uncomfortably accurate about human nature that the institutions of his era banned his work. Then the same men who banned it publicly had it copied and delivered to their private chambers. Because he did not write about how people should behave, he wrote about how they actually do. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, because it belongs to everybody to see you, to few to come in touch with you." He was writing about the gap between what people see and what they feel, and how the man who controls that gap controls every room he enters. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 micro-tests that people are running on you right now, what each test is designed to find, how it operates beneath the surface of normal interaction, and the precise response that does not just pass the test, but permanently closes the door to anyone who tries to run it on you again, because once you can name the test, you cannot be broken by it. Test 1, the withdrawal test, silent treatment. You sent the message, delivered, seen, nothing. An hour passes, you check again, still nothing. You write another message, smaller, softer, slightly apologetic. "Hey, you okay?" Right there, you failed the test. Not because checking on someone is weak, but because that second message was not concern, it was a surrender. It was you, unable to tolerate the ambiguity of silence, reaching across to repair a connection you were not responsible for breaking. The person on the other side registered that response as data, confirmation that your psychological stability is contingent on their availability, that their silence is a lever, that withdrawing access produces a predictable, exploitable reaction in you. This is the withdrawal test, the most sophisticated emotional probe in the social predator's arsenal. When someone who has been warm suddenly becomes cold without explanation, your nervous system processes it as threat. The primal alarm that once meant the tribe is withdrawing activates. Rational decision-making collapses. You stop asking, "Why are they doing this?" and start asking, "What did I do?" That shift from their behavior to your culpability is the entire point of the test. The moment you believe you caused the silence, you also believe you are responsible for ending it. And when you reach across to end it, you hand them the proof that their absence moves your needle. The unbreakable man does not chase silence, he occupies it. When someone withdraws, return to your work, return to your mission, return to the version of yourself that existed before they entered the frame. If they never warm back up, that is not a loss. That is the test revealing exactly what the relationship was built on. Test 2, the interruption test, vocal dominance. You are mid-sentence, making a point that matters. Before you finish, they cut you off. Their voice occupies the space yours was filling. And what do? You stop. You fold your sentence back into yourself. You wait. You have surrendered the floor. In social hierarchy research, this is called vocal territory. The man who speaks without being interrupted is unconsciously categorized as higher status. The man who stops speaking the instant he is interrupted has publicly declared himself a follower. Here is the rebuttal. When someone cuts you off, do not stop. Do not accelerate. Do not raise your voice. Maintain exactly the volume and pace you were using and continue your sentence to its natural end. They were expecting the silence. They had mapped the interaction with your compliance as the next data point. When the compliance does not arrive, their system recalibrates. When you finish, look at them calmly and say, "You were saying?" That sentence acknowledges they spoke, suggests you were listening, and quietly repositions you as the person conducting the conversation. The man who cannot be interrupted cannot be dismissed, and the man who cannot be dismissed cannot be broken. Test 3, the boundary probe, the violation test. It started small, a favor slightly inconvenient but not unreasonable. You said yes, then another small thing, then another, each individually defensible. But there is a pattern beneath the requests you have been too close to see. They are not testing whether you will say yes to a small thing. They are testing whether your yes ever becomes a no. Because if your yes never becomes a no, if you consistently prioritize their comfort over your boundary, then you have not been flexible. You have been mapped. You have shown them that your limit does not exist. And a man without a visible limit is a man without protected ground. This is boundary erosion through incremental escalation. Each violation is slightly beyond the last accepted one. If no resistance is encountered, the escalation continues. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you can be both." Fear, in his language, means consequence. The man who let small violations slide has removed the consequence. When someone arrives late with no apology, the right response is not a confrontation. You start without them. You finish early. You leave when your allocated time expires. You do not lend again to the person who borrowed and forgot. Tolerating small violations because they are small is like leaving your front door open because it is only drizzling. It is not the drizzle you should worry about. It is what walks through the open door while you decide whether the rain was serious enough to close it. Test 4. The Schrodinger's joke, the shield test. They said something that made the room laugh, and the thing they said was about you. A decision you made, a failure you had, a vulnerability they identified, delivered in a tone that made everyone comfortable dismissing it as humor. If you object, you are sensitive. If you laugh, you concede. You are standing inside a trap with no acceptable exit. This is the Schrodinger's joke. It exists as both humor and insult until you respond. Laugh, and it becomes humor at your expense. React, and it becomes sensitivity that confirms the insult was accurate. Both doors lead to the same room. The rebuttal requires nerve. Do not laugh. Do not react with anger. Pause. Let the room's laughter complete. Look at the person with genuine curiosity and ask, "What was funny about that?" That question is a precision instrument. The moment a joke must be explained, it stops being a joke. The protective coating of humor dissolves. What remains is the naked structure of the insult, visible to everyone. The person who delivered it is now standing without their weapon. Test 5. The public diminishment, the frame test. You were in the room, the meeting, the dinner table, the gathering, and they said something in front of everyone that reduced you. A past failure, a current limitation, a characteristic framed as a flaw. delivered casually as if it were simply a fact being stated for the record, and the room heard it. That is the test, not the comment itself, but what the room does with it and what you do while the room is deciding. In the seconds that follow, the social hierarchy is being renegotiated in real time. Everyone runs the same calculation. How does the target respond? If you absorb it in silence, the statement stands as fact. If you react emotionally, it gains credibility. If you respond with calm precision, the statement is neutralized, and the person who delivered it has revealed something about themselves. Machiavelli was explicit. A prince who fails to address a public challenge has not avoided conflict. He has confirmed his weakness to the entire court. The silence is not neutral, it is a concession, and concessions made publicly become the new baseline. The rebuttal requires a decision made in advance. Your public sovereignty is non-negotiable. When the diminishment lands, you do not raise your voice, you do not perform outrage, you address it in the room, in the moment. That's an interesting perspective. It's also inaccurate. 7 words, no elaboration, no justification, no emotional color. Those 7 words acknowledge the statement without fearing it, challenge its accuracy in front of every witness, and offer no further purchase for the exchange to continue. The person who made the statement is now holding their diminishment in a room that is looking at them instead of you. The frame has been reclaimed. Now step back and look at what the 5 tests share. Every single one is a probe for the same thing. One question asked in 5 different languages. Does this man's internal state depend on what I do? The withdrawal test asks, does my absence move him? The interruption test asks, does my voice dominate his? The boundary probe asks, does my convenience override his limits? The Schrodinger's joke asks, does my judgment threaten his composure? The public diminishment asks, does my audience destabilize his position?
The man who has built a life, a mission, a purpose that exists completely independent of other people's behavior answers every test the same way. No. Not with a speech, not with a confrontation, with the behavioral evidence of a man who does not require anything external to remain whole. That is what Machiavelli was describing when he wrote about the prince who could not be deceived or trifled with. Not a man with bodyguards and allies, but a man whose internal architecture was so complete, so self-sustaining, so anchored to something real, that the social probes of the court simply found no purchase. Here is what changes when you start passing these tests, not after one conversation, but over weeks. As your behavior consistently reflects a man who knows the architecture of what is being run on him and refuses to produce the desired result, people stop probing. Not because they become kinder, but because the data stops coming back useful. Every probe that produces no reaction extinguishes the probability of the next probe. Every time you mirror the silence, hold the floor, enforce the boundary, ask what was funny, and reclaim the frame in public, you are permanently changing the answer to the question, can I break this man? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not writing philosophy, he was writing operational protocol. The man whose stability depends on outside events can be broken by outside events. The man whose stability is internal has removed the control panel from other people's hands. You cannot probe what you cannot reach. Most men will finish this video, feel the recognition, and go back to absorbing the tests. Not because they lack understanding, but because understanding is not transformation. Transformation is the daily decision, in the moment of the probe, in the second between stimulus and response, to be the man who has already decided who he is and refuses to let someone else's experiment redefine him. That decision must be made before the test arrives, because in the moment of the test, there is no time to decide. There is only the behavior your prior decisions have installed. Decide now. Decide that your silence is chosen, not surrendered, that your floor is held, not abandoned, that your boundary has a price, that your dignity is not available for the social comfort of people who test it, that your public position is defended in public, with calm, with precision, and without apology. Decide that you are the man that tests cannot map, because that man is not just harder to break, he is impossible to break. And impossible to break is the only category worth occupying. If this reached something in you, like this video, subscribe to the channel. The tests are already running. They were running before this video started. The only thing that has changed is that you can now see them, and a man who can see the test cannot be broken by it. I will see you in the next one.